Check 1, 2.
Please rise in body or spirit as you are able as we sing our gathering hymn, number 121, We'll Build a Land. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, may then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land where we bring the good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, then create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land building up ancient cities, raising up just like an ever-flowing stream.
Welcome, good morning. I think maybe some people forgot to set back their clocks, and I did as well until Sarah reminded me late last night that there was a time change. Otherwise, I would have been here at 11:30. So we're so glad that you're here this morning, and we also want to welcome those who are joining us online, most likely in their pajamas. Whoever you are and wherever you are in your spiritual journey, you are welcome here this morning. And when you arrived, whether you carried joy or gladness or heaviness, we hope that you find peace and wholeness here today. We have some really special guests, the Uhuru Choir, and we are so happy to have you here with us this morning. All of the people in the choir came to Salem as refugees, and their music helps them stay connected to their vibrant African culture. And it helps us, it gives us some wonderful opportunities to listen. So please feel free to join us after in the fellowship hall for coffee if you would like. We would love to get to meet you. So let's take a moment first to say hello to those who did make it. Those in front of us, behind us, to the side, just introduce yourself maybe to somebody that you don't yet know. So before we begin, you are invited to silence your cell phone unless you have a particularly beautiful ringtone that you would like to share with all of us. So thank you.
Notice the water in a river and how it keeps moving, going on to the next thing, not getting stuck on any one obstacle in its journey. It acknowledges the obstacle and then adapts. No intent towards the obstacle, no intent towards having no obstacles. It just flows and adapts, going on with its journey. May we reflect on how we might do the same as we say our affirmation together. Love is our doctrine. Compassion is our way. Here we seek to create a joyful home for free religious exploration. Build a community of caring fellowship, nurture the hopes, and serve the needs of our world.
It's my pleasure to introduce to you the Uhuru Refugee Choir.
Thank you. That's wonderful. All right, they will be back. Yay, let's applaud them out. So each week, we light 3 chalices. The first is for this congregation, the Unitarian Universalist congregation, the Salem, our friends and members. The second chalice we light for our partner church in Shrimanfalva, Transylvania, Romania, and I'd like to point out that the altar cloth that you're seeing this month is a traditional Unitarian Hungarian cloth, as on many churches in Romania. And the third we light for our children and youth, both in religious exploration and in the world at large. Keep your own inner light burning. It is an empowering light, a loving light. Please join me in singing the Flame into Life. Rise up, O flame, by thy light glowing, show to us beauty, vision, and joy.
Good morning. I would like to invite everyone young and young at heart to come up to the front with me, please. Hi, everybody. How are you guys today? Good. Well, so this month is March, and we are talking about transformation. And today we are specifically going to be talking about changing our attention. Today is March 10th, which is actually the start of a special season. Has anyone heard of Ramadan? No. So awesome, that's great. So Ramadan is a religious season for the Muslim community, and it is when the Muslims start fasting, and they fast during the daylight. Does anyone know what fasting is? What is fasting? Yeah, they don't eat or drink during the daytime. Oh my gosh, does that sound hard? I think that sounds really, really, really hard. And they do that for a reason. They do it because one of the reasons is because they are trying to develop compassion for other people. And specifically, that helps them develop compassion for people that are hungry. And then that might make them understand why that's a good thing to help those kinds of people, right? So they're bringing attention to that. They're changing their attention from things that might happen every day to other things that are important in the community and to themselves spiritually. So now I want to play a game, and it is going to be testing your focus and your attention. And I'm going to do poses. You guys, I'm good at poses because I'm a ballet teacher. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a pose, and then I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to do the same pose, but we're going to start off with one thing different. Okay? So here we go. What's different? Oh, my ballet dancer. One was croisé and one was effacé. One was with this leg and the other was with that leg. Oh my goodness. Okay, you ready to do it again? Another pose. This time I'm going to do 2 things different. You guys ready? Okay.
One of your arms and legs, you just moved.
My arms and legs moved. Okay, cool. Anything else different?
I didn't know.
You don't know. That's okay. Anything else different? There was something else different. Okay, you guys ready to hear? My head. I know, my head. So one, I had both arms, and I was looking front. The other, I had one arm. Okay. That makes sense? So you see how we have to pay attention? It's good to learn to pay attention to things. And sometimes it's good to learn to pay attention to new things. And that's one of the things we're going to talk about in RE today. So with that, if we can go ahead. Oh, and I think I'm supposed to remind everyone that in a couple weeks there's going to be an Easter egg hunt.
So,
And,
oh, sorry. I'm going to interrupt here with the flow. So if everybody could, would we like the kids to stand up? Yeah, we're going to stand up. We're going to have a special presentation before the announcements are going, okay? So everyone's going to stand up. Marcia and Pam, with the Dances of Universal Peace, is going to come up now, and they're going to show us some more movements where we all want to pay attention. Okay, do you need this? So Pam, while John's fixing that, why don't you use the mic?
My name's Pam Pritchard. I'm one of the coordinators for the Dances of Universal Peace, which is one of our congregational activities occurring twice a month in Hanneman Hall. We are going, Marcia and I have something for you. I'm going to let Marcia talk next.
Should have this too. Pam and I, mostly Pam, is going to show you one of the dances that we would do at Dances of Universal Peace. You can do it two ways. You can do it in your seat, and there's hand gestures. But if you really want to get into it, you can go and line up or kind of get around the room so you have some room to stand and move. And kids, you guys can just keep standing. So if you want to have some space, move. Otherwise, just do the hand gestures from your seat.
And I suggest that some of you, if you want to, the dance is done standing, so if you want to stand, just move into the perimeter. It'd be better if you didn't stand in the pews, because the people won't be able to see behind you. So if you want to stand, do move into the perimeter or into the center aisle. So this dance is called Love is the Healing Power. And the words, I'll just have you repeat them. Love is the healing power.
Love is the healing power.
The more you give, the more you get.
The more you give, the more you get.
So give your love away. So I just want to ask the young people, so what is the healing power? Love. That's it. That's what this song is all about. So I'm going to sing the first verse through for you, and then we'll sing it together. I'd like you to sway as I sing it. And Marcia and I are going to sing it together. So we'll start swaying right, and just listen this time, and I'll leave it. Love is the healing power. Love is the healing power. Love is the healing power. So give your love away. Great. So, for those of you who didn't, can you hear me now without the mic? I think I'm, so we're going to sing now the whole thing through once. And the second verse is just the same tune as the first. And if you'd like to do the clapping on or not. So here we go. Love is the healing power. Love is the healing power. Love is the healing power. So give your love away. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. So give your love away. So you have learned the whole song and the movements to the first verse. Now I'm going to teach you the movements to the second verse. So the hands kind of start over the chest or heart. So on more, we bring down our right hand. Give, we bring down our left. And then more,
you get. So it looks, we'll just say it and do these movements. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. And then on, so give your love away. We can do whatever turn we want to symbolize this creative giving away of our love. And if you're seated, you can just wave your hands in a creative circular way. So let's go ahead and we're going to sing the second verse through with those movements.
The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. So give your love away.
Now we're ready to sing the whole song. We're going to sing it 3 times through. And the second and third time we're going to go a half step up when we sing. And you can just follow us. Here we go. Ready to lean right.
Love is the healing power. Love is the healing power. Love is the healing power. So give your love away. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. So give your love away. Love is the healing power. Love is the healing power. Love is the healing power. So give your love away. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. So give your love away. Love is the healing power. Love is the healing power. Love is the healing power. So give your love away. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. So give your love away.
What's the healing power? Love!
The rest of the announcement?
No, perfect.
Great.
Fantastic. Thank you. So the other no LRE March 31st and April 7th because it's Family Promise Week. And also there's going to be a luncheon on April 28th for the LRE program. And if any adults want to come to that program, that would be great. So we can talk more about RE and the future of RE. And then the last one is that there's going to be an Easter egg hunt on Easter. And it will be on Sunday, March 31st, which is, of course, Easter. And it will be between noon and 2. And I do believe Molly is going to be hoping for help getting Easter eggs stuffed. So there you go. With that, can we please make the love arch? Thank you.
Annie.
Wherever you walk, walk in peace. Wherever you walk, walk in beauty all around you. Our hearts go with you. Thank you, Pam. As the song said, love is a healing power, and compassion is the act of really seeing each other and of seeing them in all of their complexity, and sometimes seeing beneath the surface to understand that, like us, they experience profound pain. Compassion asks us to keep our hearts soft and open. And gratitude helps us understand that life can be rich and rewarding in spite of pain, and that pain can be a good teacher. Gratitude helps us put grief in perspective. May our dark times nurture our compassion, and may we keep gratitude alive in our heart.
Good morning. I'm George Pitter, your Lifeline's lay minister this morning. The Lifeline's lay ministry assists the minister in providing compassionate caring to members of our congregation. We also connect with those who are homebound, and we endeavor to provide a welcoming presence for visitors. I didn't have anything in the book this morning, but I've got two that were submitted online. I have a concern from Joel Martin. One of my best friends died last Wednesday. Kirk had been dealing with Parkinson's for a couple of decades and died in his sleep. He was an engineer and had been an airline pilot. We met in a calculus class at Chemeketa and nerded together, going to science lectures in Portland and viewing streamed programs about astronomy and physics. As his condition deteriorated, I spent time with him every other Saturday. I miss him a lot. My heart goes out to his wife, Susie, and their 2 adult children. And I have a joy from Deanna Garcia. Last week, a significant collaboration began between Salem's mayor's office, the police department, and the community to address violent crime. These crimes are prevalent in my immediate community, so naturally I was part of the conversation. I was overjoyed to see familiar UU faces amongst the crowd at the event on March 6th. John, Jean, Dave, Pam, and Carrie Lynn, thank you for being there on Wednesday and for your willingness to support Northeast Salem. We light one last candle for all the joys and concerns that were unspoken this morning. Thank you. I forgot. We have compassionate connections after the service. And, you can join us in the front of the sanctuary if you'd like to participate. And we can be contacted by calling the office, or you can leave messages online for us. Thank you.
Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we could make such sweet harmony. Building bridges between our divisions, I reach out to you. Will you reach out to me? With all of our voices and all of our visions, friends, we make such sweet harmony.
"'Tis a fearful thing to love what death can touch, a fearful thing to love, to hope, to dream, to be, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools this, and a holy thing to love. For your life has lived in me. Your laugh once lifted me. Your word was gift to me. To remember this brings painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death has touched.
So many years ago, there lived a couple who really wanted a child. And at last, the woman got pregnant, and she gave birth, and the parents loved their little boy. They wanted to protect him from sadness. They wanted to protect him from encountering the world as it is, with its sadness, its darkness, its underside. How many of you, as parents, want the same thing? I think it's a natural human emotion. But plans didn't work out that way. As the boy grew into a young man, he became more and more curious about what was on the other side of his sheltered existence. Now, his parents were royalty, and this young man was a prince, and you have probably heard this story. His name was Siddhartha. One day, in a fit of curiosity and rebellion, Siddhartha asked his chariot driver to take him far outside the palace walls, away from his wealthy neighborhood and into the heart of the city. There on the streets for the first time, Prince Siddhartha saw people, bodies that were ravaged and broken. He saw a corpse. He saw desperation and poverty and despair. And he realized at once that he had been living an illusion. That night, the prince took off his royal robe and he left the palace in search of answers. He wanted to understand why humans suffer. In the story, Prince Siddhartha became the Buddha, and his central mission for the rest of his life was teaching people how to live with grief. My guess is that everyone in this room has had the experience of leaving the palace. We leave or are cast out of our own places of shelter, and for the first time in our life, we experienced despair. We take a walk through darkness and we learn about loneliness or failure. We experience the loss of someone we love. We lose a job or stability or a home, or our financial security. We are wounded by other people, and some of us are brutalized by racism or homophobia. We come to know old age at last and its physical diminishments, and sometimes those diminishments make us lose a sense of who we are. Like you, I've had my share of disruption and loss, and I moved through those experiences. But the grief that stopped me in my tracks and brought me into utter darkness and left me there came 4 years ago. When you talk about grief, you first need to talk about what you love. Grief is often the loss of that love, whether it's a person, a healthy body, or sense of security. Whatever we are attached to. My great love is this earth, this miraculous, life-giving planet. I've spent a lot of quiet days exploring her forests and her coasts, and in my explorations, I've met river otters and black bears and owls. I've wandered among some of the oldest trees on the planet, and I've slept in the mountains under the Milky Way that shimmers across the sky. These experiences make me feel completely alive. This love of the earth doesn't just extend to the magnificent. It begins in my own backyard, finding earthworms under the leaves in the spring, or sitting on the porch listening to crickets. I know this love of the earth is something that I share with many of you, and that's why we were horrified and then devastated when wildfires swept through Santiam Canyon in the fall of 2020. People lost their homes, wild creatures fled the flames, and many of them didn't make it. And 200-year-old trees were left as bare black trunks. We hadn't really recovered from the fires when an ice storm hit, just 5 months later. All across town, One giant tree after another fell, and in the space of 24 hours, we lost hundreds of trees. 4 months later, in June, we saw more destruction as a heat dome scorched thousands of Douglas fir and cedar trees, sending many into a death spiral. But what broke my heart and set me over the edge into despair was hearing about 2 osprey chicks. Each year, a pair of ospreys return to our neighborhood. We all watch for their return, and then we watch the parents bring fish from the river for the little ones. And finally, the moment of their first flight arrives. These little chicks hop out on the edge of this high nest, and they're trusting to the instinct of themselves and the encouragement of their parents. They flap their wings and they scream and cry and wobble, and then at some point, they're flying. And they are breathtaking. When the heat dome descended and grew more and more unbearable, the chicks weren't yet able to fly. They were trapped in their high nest with no shade and no water. When I heard that the osprey chicks didn't make it, something inside of me broke. The suffering of these little birds seemed emblematic of the suffering of the earth. I fell into despair, and each day became flat and gray, and I wanted to weep a lot of the time, and yet I felt too dry and wrung out for tears. Grief comes in different forms with different faces for each of us. When it comes, we wonder, what do I do with this? How do I hold this suffering? We sense somewhere inside that we can't escape its clutches through denial or flight, although we might try. It's insistent. It will have its way. And sometimes what we feel isn't personal grief, but just the grief of a damaged planet or a damaged people. We feel rising anger and hostility in the air. We feel a sense of political polarization. Because our lives are so interconnected, we take on the anxieties around us. Francis Weller, in his book, The Wild Edge of Sorrow, wrote, "The personal and the planetary losses have left many of us feeling uncertain, anxious, and ultimately heartbroken. We have come to understand that we are participants in an entwined and entangled net of connections. This entwined net of connections is what Unitarian Universalists often call the spirit of life. For us, this web includes ourselves, the human race, and it includes the natural world, and it is sacred. I spent the next year trying to find a way to reconcile myself to this wounded earth, trying to reconcile myself to the presence of existential grief. Everyone has their own path to fix what is broken. Everyone has their own toolbox of strategies for healing. I want to share some of the things that I learned that year. Perhaps they will be helpful to you as well. The most important thing that I learned is to find people you trust and confide in them, to make yourself vulnerable, to open up, to weep together. That's one reason why we gather here in community each Sunday, to find fellowship. One of our principles affirms our belief for compassion in each other, and that's what we aspire to. We also have the Lifelines lay ministry, who you've just heard from. They will listen deeply. Tears aren't something to apologize for. Sadness doesn't mean we're a failure. It just means that we are human and authentic. When we are seen and understood, we feel safe and we begin to heal. For my part, I met an old friend who loves the earth in the same way that I do. And I cried and cried and cried with her late into the night. And somehow those tears were cleansing. They swept me clean so that there was a space for tentative happiness to take root. The next strategy I employed was something the Buddha talked about. When he left the palace, trying to make sense of suffering, he discovered some insights. He taught that suffering is part of the human condition. It's not an aberration. It's the experience that we all share. He said it's important to acknowledge our suffering and to not deny it. How many times have we heard that we should just get over it? We may have lost a companion or a job or the friendship of a child or a stable life, or we may have gotten sick a year ago or 5 years ago. So we should be over it by now, right? But often life doesn't work that way. Grief can hang on for years. What we really need to do is sit with our grief, but we live in a culture of distractions and entertainments and escapism. Unfortunately, these easy distractions won't heal our sorrow. They just delay our reconciliation. The Buddha talked about facing and holding our grief, but also practicing detachment, which is different from denial or escapism. We can think of our emotions as a river flowing by. One by one, we feel loneliness, we see rejection, shame, regret, a feeling like this will never end, or a feeling like I'm all alone in this. I found that if I envisioned myself standing on a bank, watching this river of emotions flow by, I didn't feel as much like I was in the river drowning. I tried to watch, almost as if my emotions were outside of myself. I could just observe and name each feeling: dread, anger, anxiety, guilt. Barack Obama employed a version of this strategy when he was in office. 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, the country and the world were in crisis. So this journalist asked him, how do you stay balanced? How do you keep from being overwhelmed? President Obama's answer was simple. He said 2 words: I read. He read history and novels and philosophy, and when he read, he understood that this moment we inhabit is a small, small fraction of the big picture of humanity. President Obama said that reading gave him a sense of perspective. It helped him step back and take a deep breath. He said it helped him quiet himself. In the summer, when I'm troubled and I can't sleep, I go out and I lie in the hammock under the stars. And I look up into the night sky and I realize that I inhabit a tiny pinprick of time in all of human history, on a tiny pinprick of a planet in a vast cosmos. In the big picture, everything will be okay. Everything. My personal stresses, the endless political shenanigans, the fraying of democracy and the rise in social anxiety, the plundering of this earth and the rising temperatures. In the big picture, these are temporary. The imbalances of our civilization may give way to something else, perhaps a simpler, more connected social system. In the big picture, the earth will find balance again. Anthony Doerr, in his beautiful novel, Cloud Cuckoo Land, wrote, "The things that look fixed in this world, mountains, wealth, empires, their permanence is only an illusion. We believe they will last, but that is only because of the brevity of our own lives. From the perspective of God, cities like this will come and go like anthills." That's perspective. These problems are impermanent, and all things will pass. The last tool in my toolbox is something I learned from a wise elder. I asked her, why is there so much mud, and how can I quiet these stresses? This is what this wise woman said. She said, listen to your heart. Determine what brings you joy, whether it's dancing to Irish music or growing roses or playing with children or baking bread. Know what makes you happy, and then every day touch that source of happiness. Even if your happiness is fragile and impermanent, even if it's laced with sorrow, nurture the happiness. Know what you love and go to that place. For me, that means putting an apple, half a peanut butter sandwich, and a thermos of tea in a pack and heading for the forest so I can be among the trees. I carry my grief with me, but I also carry my love, and my love these days is stronger than my grief. Because the earth is fragile, because all things are impermanent, I have come to a deeper gratitude than ever. When I make my annual pilgrimage to my favorite redwood forest, I am aware that this forest may not be here next year. A wildfire may leave it blackened and scarred beyond recognition. And I don't know if my aging body will allow me to make this hike again. All the more reason to open myself to love, to open all of my senses, to touch ferns and tree lichens, to breathe in the mossy fragrance of an old-growth forest. We have a UU hymn titled Blue Boat Home. The lyrics say that we are pilgrims, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. Here we all are, whirling through space on this once-in-a-galaxy blue planet, bound together by this maddening, mysterious experience of being human. We all navigate uncertainty. We all get lost in the dark sometimes. We are all pilgrims, finding our way as best as we know how. I have learned that despair can commingle with joy and with patience and understanding. Grief has led to a deeper gratitude for what is left, for the blessings that I still have. Francis Weller wrote, "There is some strange intimacy between grief and aliveness, some sacred exchange between what seems unbearable and what is most exquisitely alive." He wrote, "Grief is not a problem to be solved, but an essential experience of being alive. My grief says that I dared to love." Grief deepens us. It makes us more attuned to the sorrow in others. It nurtures compassion. When our heart breaks open, compassion can enter. A quiet kind of wisdom can take root. And I think, too, that it's possible to develop a type of compassion that is elastic. Contentment stretches to fold in sadness and anger and insecurity, and it can hold all kinds of unruly, conflicting emotions. Long ago, there was a prince who encountered suffering. Like him, many of us have left our sheltered places. We've had our first and maybe our second or third encounters with grief. Our grieving is not finished. Some sorrows will be with us always, and that's as it should be. That's part of the human condition. We are works in progress, and our accommodation with grief is a work in progress. When we find people to talk to and nurture community, when we seek perspective, and when we do the things we love, we become resilient enough to hold our grief. When we nurture community, when we seek perspective, and when we do the things we love, we become resilient. May we allow our suffering to teach us compassion. May we be gentle with ourselves. May we find peace. So we all have places of wholeness, but we all also feel just a little bit broken. And so right now, we can just take a moment to breathe and feel grounded. If we feel sorrow, we can hold that sorrow with tenderness, and we can take it home and light a candle and just sit with it and listen to it. Where does grief rest in the body? Is it an ache in the throat or a heaviness in the chest, a pain in the gut? We can just let ourselves feel. That's the work of grieving. It's okay to let sorrow do that work. Our grief connects us with every other human on this planet. All of our wounds can find healing. All of our wounds can find healing. All of us have untapped resilience. May we know the world as one of abundance, and may we find light in the darkness.
That was beautiful. Thank you. Good morning, and welcome once again to the 2024 Pledge Drive. When I was asked to give this talk, I really didn't know what to say. I'm involved in quite a few things here at this congregation, but I take a lot of things for granted. And I started thinking, why do Alan and I contribute to this congregation? Well, apparently, we have a custodian, because usually the building appears to be fairly clean when I use it. Now, I've been here a few times when the weather outside has been absolutely freezing, and I walk into the sanctuary and I'm actually able to take off my coat and feel very comfortable because someone has paid the heat bill. And we have lights. Not long ago, I noticed that our building was in need of repair. And from being a homeowner, I'm very aware that fixing a building takes a lot of money. And recently, I took a walk out in the back acreage, out here, and I was delighted to find that there have been many, many improvements. I encourage you to take a stroll if you haven't already. Excuse me. Of course, we do have volunteers who keep the property presentable, but sometimes we have damage from things like ice storms or windstorms like maybe we had here last night. I know we did in West Salem. I don't know. Or new trees and plants need to be brought in. I really appreciate that our building and our property are so very lovely, and I know it takes some generous funding to keep it that way. Now, because of some of the activities I'm involved in here at UUCS, and there are quite a few of them, I often need to call the office to ask for advice or to ask questions, and I'm always delighted to speak with our wonderful office staff.
They're really incredible, and they're always willing to help out, even with the smallest and sometimes even the weirdest questions or problems. My hope is that this congregation is compensating these incredible people with something more than just a living wage. And of course, we are paying our minister, which is a big chunk of the budget. While our current minister, Reverend Rick, will be retiring soon from this congregation, we will be looking for an interim minister, and then in a couple of years, we'll search for a permanent minister to fill some pretty big shoes. I just keep thinking that if we're going to attract the best that the Unitarian Universalist Association has to offer, we need to have a committed congregation and a very healthy budget. So, we're upping our pledge this year. It's the least we can do, and we're looking to a bright future for this congregation. I hope you are too. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria. Our pledge drive is sort of coming to an end, but as you know, the pledge drive never ends because we need to make those pledges, we need to make our budget, and we are going to need we have some big things coming up for costs. I also want to let you know that if you didn't get a little succulent in the past few weeks, Craig has some extra ones out in the fellowship hall. So make your pledge, pick up a little succulent. I have one in the back for myself, and take it to a loving home. That'd be lovely. So we support UUCS through our pledges, donations, and connections with one another. We support the Salem community through donations to the Marion Polk Food Share, which may be placed in the Little Red Wagon that is coming up. And for the month of March, we are supporting the Partner Church Fund in support of our partner Unitarian Church in Cheminfalva, Transylvania, Romania. Over the years, we have supported them with needed vitamins and supplies, as well as helping them build their community hall. And you're going to hear more about that next Sunday. But the biggest gain has been the relationships with the members of the Cheminfalva congregation through our travels. May we continue to foster this connection. Your donations will go towards the scholarships for pilgrimages to Cheminfalva. For those of you in person, you may donate food for the Marion Polk Food Share in the Little Red Wagon that's coming up someplace, somewhere. I swear it is. And also, no, it's not apparently, because there's not really room for it. So you can place items as you leave. And if you're here in person, you can place monetary donations in the baskets that are being passed. You can look on your printed OS order of service. You'll see a QR code, or you may go to the website to donate. Thank you for helping support the community of UUCS as well as the greater community of Salem. And let's give a big round of applause, thanking once again the Uhuru Chorus coming to entertain us.
gonna introduce ourselves. Just name. My name is Marceline. Hi, my name is Marceline.
My name is Ivana. My name is Bertha. My name is Eros. My name is Oyale. My name is Esther.
My name is Torres.
My name is Dorcas.
My name is Kwa.
My name is Salvador.
My name is Cecilia.
My name is Sakina. My name is Salim.
My name is Sarah.
My name is Sarah.
My name is Marie.
My name is Happy.
My name is Jean.
Hello, my name is Shkuru.
Thank you so much.
All right, next Sunday, I hope you are all here for our annual Schumann Falva Partner Church service. We have speakers from the last tour that was there, the pilgrimage that was there. We have special music planned, and it should be a lot of fun. So we hope to see you there. Oh, including, I'm really excited. Hope this works out. The Schumann Falva congregation sent us a video of their past year to show to us. So hopefully the production techs can make all that work out, which is cool. After that, the next exciting thing, is the board forum is also next Sunday after the service. Those of you that came last month did a really nice job of answering some questions regarding what we are looking for in the interim minister. So those same questions are going to be asked again. If you were not able to come last month, be sure and attend this month. The board the search committee is gathering all that information and are going to compile, based on those questions, some interview questions for potential candidates in April. So we're getting a little closer. It's exciting. It's all sort of coming together. So it's great. If you are not getting any news through the newsletter or through the Friday e-blasts, weekly e-blasts, be sure and contact the office and get yourself on the email list so that you can do that, so you can find out all the wonderful things that are happening. I think that's it. Oh, huh? I did. Oh, John is pointing out to me that my job here is not done. But luckily, Nadene has remembered that lighting the social justice candle with the light of our chalice as a reminder of all that we do in our daily lives to help a hurting world. As we extinguish the chalices, let's remember these words by our own Lisa Lermo. How we grieve is how we live. Hopefully, that's with self-compassionate acceptance of changes we can't control, along with a curiosity to feel whatever comes up. That's how we learn how to live, how to die, how to accept that everyone dies, no matter how much we love them.
And now it is time for our closing hymn. Please rise in body or spirit as you are able. Number 1064, Our Blue Boat Home. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, winding our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging on, breathe the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born up on the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Please remain standing. Oh, wait a minute, we have a Rick quote. Rushing to get what we don't have, we miss what we do have. Something to remember. Now, please join me in saying our closing words. May faith in the spirit of life, hope for the beauty of earth, and love for the sacred in one another be ours now and in all the days to come.